What's going on, guys? Boss6 here, Berkshire video, and today here to give you guys an album ranking. Yes, I am finally done with this one. I actually got this one done quickly than I actually thought. But today I'm going to be ranking all 15 studio offerings from German thrash metal legends Kreator. This one was a pretty interesting listen throughout because, well, I am familiar with the German thrash scene thanks to the band Sodom. And, yeah, this one was a pretty interesting discography to get into. And if you guys are watching this before I actually go to a wrestling pay-per-view, I'm going to be at Backlash tonight. So maybe you get to see me twice in one day. Who knows? That might be a bad thing, all things considered. But, yeah, this one was a pretty fun one to do. And before I actually get into the ranking and get into the history of Kreator, how did I get into this band? Well, I didn't get into Kreator until a little bit later on in my life because I was still going through my phases of metal, what I really wanted to listen to, because growing up in high school, I was listening to, like, nu metal and metalcore acts and all that stuff. But when I was listening to bands like Metallica and Anthrax, I really started to get into more thrash scenes, and then I listened to eventually Megadeth and Slayer, and then eventually I got into the other Bay Area thrash bands like Exodus, Overkill, Testament, all those fun stuff. Then when I finally got into Sodom, that's when I really experimented into the thrash scene in Germany, and I was listening to bands like Destruction and especially Tankard and a little bit of Holy Moses too. But that's a bit of a deep cut right there, but. Yeah, I didn't fully get into Kreator until I listened to all the Sodom albums, and I'm like, okay, that was really damn good. Now I want to check out these guys and see what the price is all about, and well, some of it is justified, but you got some peaks and valleys with this one, but yeah, this was a pretty fun discography to listen to, and yeah, without further ado, kick back, grab a snack, grab your loved one, and pop open a Heineken, boys, because we're going to Germany to talk about Kreator. So, Kreator was formed in 1982 in Eastland, Germany, under the original moniker of Metal Militia, and then they became Tyrant just a little bit afterwards. Then yet another change of Tormentor, which actually became a couple band member names, and eventually bands later on, and then finally settling on Kreator. So, the original lineup consisted of guitarist and vocalist Millie Petroza, drummer Jürgen Reil, aka Ventor, and bassist Rob Foretti, I think that's how you say his name. In just 10 days, they would actually get a producer, and Horst Müller, and this album was released on Noise Records, or on Noise Studios. So, just like that, in October of 1985, we get their debut album, Endless Pain. This one I have at my number 9. This one is a pretty good album, pretty good debut to start off here. I do like the more black metal-ish kind of vibe it gives off here. Has that nice raw production to it that bands around this time was doing, mainly Sodom when they were highly inspired, like Venom and Bathory, and a little bit of Celtic Frost and Hellhammer, which I think is really nice. It kind of gives a little bit of charm to it. Production, while not the best, again, I do really like that charm it gives off, and it's pretty damn good. But you get some good tracks here. The Tower track is a big standout. Total Death's really good. The aforementioned Tormentor's pretty good. Flag of Hate is pretty good. Living in Fear, that's a hell of a track right there. And Dying Victims, that's a pretty good track right there too. So, yeah, while not a whole lot of standout tracks per se, this is a pretty fun album to go back and listen to. And again, while it's not best production-wise, it's pretty fun musically. And again, even though it's very wonky and all over the place, it's still a fun time regardless. And these guys were pretty young, so what can you do? So, yeah, this is a pretty fun album to listen to. While not the best, it is certainly one of the most fun. So, I got to give it that, and it comes into my number 9. So, after Endless Pain, they acquired future Sodom guitarist Michael Wolf for the tour, and while Millie switched to rhythm guitars. Wolf was in the band for a few days, but according to Linear Notes, did not play on the follow-up. And this next album would get famed producer Harris Johns on production, who would later go on to be in Sodom, do production for Halloween, so on and so forth. So, in November of 1986, we get their follow-up album, Pleasure to Kill. This is my number 2. This and Endless Pain are night and day in terms of production, songwriting, and song structure. While the production and the musicianship is not really too far off, my God, the songs on this album are absolutely amazing. You could tell these guys were really listening to Slayer around this time, because this is basically the reigning blood of Germany, if you really think about it, because these songs are a lot more aggressive. There's some more slower moments on this album, a little bit of a progressive vibe on some tracks, especially the track The Pestilence, which is one of my favorite tracks on this album. But after Choir of the Damned, which is this nice, beautiful kind of melody, right into the track Ripping Corpse, which will later go on to be inspired by the band Ripping Corpse, which is really nice. Death Is Your Savior is one of my favorites. The title track's fantastic. Riot of Violence is awesome. Carrion is great. Command of the Blade was basically kind of Rain and Blood in a way, or somewhat like Angel of Death. And Under the Guillotine is just fantastic. And I actually have the remaster edition. It actually features the Flag of Hate EP bonus tracks. The Flag of Hate, Take Their Lives, and Awakening of the Gods. Which is actually the longest track on this album as a whole. But yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. This is a bitchin' album. I love this thing. This thing is absolutely fantastic. If you want some aggression with a little bit of melody, but has that nice kind of raw production to it, you can't go wrong with Pleasure to Kill with this one. So yeah, my number 2, one album just beat it by a hair, but this is a fantastic debut album. Or, not debut album. Fantastic sophomore album. So, this was heavily praised. I can't speak to save my life, apparently. This was heavily praised by fans and critics, calling it a classic, which I will agree with. And after 31 years, it was featured on the metal, or the German album charts, which is pretty nice. Flag of Hate is a life staple to this very day, and it slowly became one of the more promising up-and-coming acts in all of Europe. So they started the First World Tour after Pleasure to Kill, playing a couple shows outside of Germany during the fall of '86, touring with Destruction and Celtic Frost. And in the spring of '87, they toured in North America for the first time, opening for Voivod on their Kellen Technology album. So they released their EP Flag of Hate in '86, and around this time they get forgive me if I mispronounce this gentleman's name. Jorg Trzebia Towski. I apologize if I fucked that word up. aka Tritzy for guitars, and for the new album they would get Roy Rowland for producer. So on September 22nd, 1987, we get the follow-up, Terrible Certainty. This one dropped just a hair. I have this in my number 7. It's a good follow-up, but not a great album. There are some really good tracks on this album. The main complaint I really have about it is that the production's not the best. It is a bit thin-sounding, and it really didn't get, it really didn't grab me as much as Pleasure to Kill did. But to say that there isn't some good songs on it is to do a complete disservice. Like Blind Faith, that is a hell of a track. Storming with Menace, the title track's awesome. As the World Burns is really nice. Toxic Trace, which is one of their big standouts, and Behind the Mirror in particular, which both those tracks actually got featured on MTV and got them a little more commerciality, which I think is really, really, really nice. But yeah, other tracks on the album didn't really do it for me per se, but yeah, there are some really good tracks on this album, but again, it's not an album we're really going to go back to all too much. I do like the album cover, though. I think the album cover is pretty cool, but yeah, not an album we're really going to go back to all too much. Still good, but not great. It's just a good follow-up, but not a great album. So yeah, overall, good album, but nothing more. My number 7. So this album got them more popularity with the aforementioned Behind the Mirror and Toxic Trace by getting some airplay on MTV. They got enough money and time from the concerts to finance another EP titled Out of the Dark, Into the Light in '88. By this point, Kreator started headlining their own tours, as well as playing in theaters and arenas with acts like Megadeth, Voivod, Overkill, DRI, and Holy Terror. Berlin-based independent label Noise Records licensed Kreator for their territories outside of Europe and Japan to Epic Records, whom they signed with in '88. So for the new, this next album, they get legendary producer Randy Burns, who will do Megadeth and a couple other bands in the liking. So on June 19th, 1998, we get the follow-up album, Extreme Aggression. This is my number 4. This felt like the proper follow-up to Pleasure to Kill. Like, this is what Terrible Certainty was trying to be, but ultimately kind of fumbled a little bit. This is what, this is a proper follow-up to Pleasure to Kill, if you ask me, because it has the more fast-tempo tracks, but you also have those nice melodies to incorporate as well, which I think is absolutely awesome. Like, the title track, for example, is absolutely great. No Reason to Exist. Love Us or Hate Us is catchy. Stream of Consciousness, Betrayer is a big standout. And Fatal Energy is really, really, really good. But yeah, other than that, I really don't have any complaints with this album. The only reason why it's number 4 and not higher is because there's 3 albums I like more than this one. But still, absolute banger to close out the 80s, if you ask me. And that's all I really got to say here. So yeah, my number 4, Extreme Aggression. So this got them even more popular with the fans as a music video for Betrayer got featured on Headbangers Ball. They have a tour with King Diamond, Raven, Corner, Death, Sadist, and Suicidal Tendencies. Well, that's a fucking lineup if I ever seen one. And now expanding their popularity outside of Germany. So, in '89, German director Thomas Schadacht, I think that's how you say his name, made a documentary about the band titled Thrash Altenassen. After Extreme Aggression, Jorg would leave, and former Sodom guitarist Frank Blackfire would join. So there's a little bit of a partnership right there, which I think is pretty cool. So with Randy Burns at the production chair yet again, on November 5th, 1990, we get Coma of Souls. This is my number 3. This is a huge follow-up to Extreme Aggression. And this is where I think the melodies really start coming into the band, because while Extreme Aggression did have a little bit of melody, it did have that more, pun unintended, that more aggressive side of Kreator, which I think is really, really, really nice. But this is where the melodies really came to the fore, and my God, the songs on this album are so damn catchy because of it. Like, When the Sun Burns Red is a fantastic opening track. The title track's awesome. People of the Lie is so damn good. World Beyond, Agents of Brutality is a fantastic track. Twisted Urges, Hidden Detector, Mental Slavery, like, all these songs kick ass. There's a filler track or two that I didn't really necessarily care for, but this is a damn near all killer no filler album, if you ask me. And spoiler alert, this is the best album they've done in the 90s, because after that it is it's pretty rocky from here on out. But yeah, it's absolutely great. I love the production on this album. I think the production's a little bit better than Extreme Aggression, because Extreme Aggression was just a tad, just a smidge thin, if you ask me, especially when it came to the drums. But the production got a little bit bigger on this one, which I think is absolutely great. And, yeah, I think this album is absolutely fantastic, and it comes in at my number 3. So while this album was not praised as much as previous offerings, some even said it was rushed, which I could see that, but at the same time, I really don't. It still managed to be as successful in terms of sales and popularity when The Sun Burns Red and People of the Lie became hits. Now we get into 1982 and 1992, when thrash around this time was starting to die out. And eventually, groove and grunge was really starting to become the word of the day. And during this time, Kreator got released from their American contract with Sony and CBS. And into the studio, they went with famed producer Tom Morris on the producer set. And October 22nd, 1992, we would get Renewal. This one is my number 13. Man, what a drop-off. What a big drop-off from the previous offering. This album, I don't know what they were trying to do here. Like, this is where Kreator was really starting to go downhill from here. It's not all complete trash, but it is pretty unlistenable on some songs. But yeah, the song just doesn't really do anything for me. Like, they go for more of a groove metal sound, but have a little bit of industrial elements. And that stuff doesn't do anything for me. Like, it feels like they were really trying to come up with the success of Pantera, and it really doesn't work at all. The opening track, Winter Martyrdom, is pretty solid. The title track's okay. Brain Seed's actually pretty good. It's one of the more thrashy tracks. Zero to None's pretty good. But the big song I want to talk about is Karmic Wheel. Why? Why? I just want to know why that song was a thing. Oh, dear God. Lord in heaven, that song is bad. That is a very bad song. Yeah, it's not that great. It's really not. It was the sound of the times. E92 wasn't that great, if you're asking me personally, but maybe for death metal and black metal, but for thrash, yeah, no, it was not that good of a time. But yeah, this is what they went for, and this is what we got. So, yeah, not much more needs to be said, and it comes in at my number 13. So this was not well received by fans and critics because they were saying that the quote sold out, and the band experimented a decline in popularity as a result of this album. Meanwhile, constant exits in the band remain. Roberto will leave after Renewal and be replaced by Andreas Herns in 1994. In 94, Jurgen would leaving Melee the only original member left in the band, and he is still the original member left in the band going today. And Raul was replaced by Joe Kangalowski, I think that's how you say. I apologize for this. While hers left the same year and was replaced by Christian Geisler. I think that's how you say it. During this time, Kreator would enter tenure with Epic Records and sign with Gun Records for European distributions. And for this new album, they get producer Vincent Wonol for the next two albums. So yeah, after all that stuff, we finally get into their next album on August 1st, 1995. We would get Cause for Conflict. This one's my number 12. It's a bit of a step up than Renewal, but that's not saying a lot, really. They go for more of a groovy thrash sound with a little bit of a hardcore vibe to it. It's kind of like their equivalent of Chaos AD, but not done as good. The production is alright. I actually don't mind the production on the album. I forgot to mention with Renewal, the production was pretty lousy on that album, but I mean, this one is, again, it's a bit of a step up from Renewal, but that's not saying a whole lot. There are some good tracks I do like. I like Prevail's pretty good. Bomb Threat's pretty solid. Progressive, Proletarians. Yeah, Proletarians. That's an alright song. Men Without God's actually pretty good. I do like that song. Sculpture of Regret. But the track Isolation. Why? Like, I don't understand why bands do this around this time where they have a song that is like 4 minutes long and the rest of the song is nothing but noise. It's like, it's a bunch of nothing. Like, it's 11 minutes, but there's only 4 minutes to the actual song and the rest of it is just noise. I hate it when that album does it. Hate it when bands do that. It's just annoying. It's a dumb trope. I don't get it. But yeah, I just don't understand why that happened, but here we are. But yeah, this album is not great, but it's a slight improvement over its predecessor, so that much I'll give. So, yeah, that's my number 12, Cause for Conflict. So not much else happened after Cause for Conflict, except for in 96, Blackfire and Kangalowski would leave and be replaced by former Corner guitarist Tommy Ventrelli. Ventrelli, and be in a returning Jorgen Rail on drums. So at least we get a little bit of a comeback here. Fortunately, what was not a comeback was in July 22nd of 1997, we would get Outkast. This is my second to last. This is my number 14. Good golly, Miss Molly. They did not heed the advice of the last album, because this does feel like a follow-up to Renewal, and it's not good. It's pretty lackluster for the most part. There are 2 tracks I do like. There is one third one I did like, and then, well, I'll get to that here in a minute, but Phobia is alright. I like Black Sunrise, and that's literally it. Whatever May Take was good, and then the bridge happened. It's like, what the hell are we doing here? I just don't understand why a band just abandons their thrash sound in the 90s. I get it. Thrash was gone by this point. We're in 97. Thrash was gone. Industrial and groove metal were still becoming, the big thing at the time because of Pantera, bands like Lamb of God, and especially Machine Head around this time. But it's just boring. Just a boring album. Literally, like, nothing happened on this album. Like, you could have taken Renewal, Outkast, and the following album, and you could have taken them out of the discography. You would miss nothing. That is how weak these albums are. But I guess they're doing it for contractual obligations. I don't really know. But yeah. Yeah, not a good album at all, and it's my second to last. So this next album, Tommy and Millie would actually produce this one, and this next album would acquire some different elements. I'll get to that here in a second. And this would actually be replaced on Victor Records in Japan. So, that being said, April 20th, 1999, we would get one of the dullest and one of the lamest albums I have ever heard, Endorama. Good fucking Lord, this is my dead last. This album just makes my head hurt. Because I forgot, I should have mentioned with this and Outkast, these albums sound like Tiamat diets. Like, it feels like something Tiamat would do. But the difference is Tiamat knows how to make good songs. Oh, good God. I don't know what the hell went on with this one. Like, Endorama, I wouldn't call it a top 10 worst metal album of all time, but it's like top 20 to like top 25. Like, this album is bad. This album is pretty fucking atrocious. Like the riffs and the vocals on this album just make no sense. Like, Pandemonium has some good riffs, but the vocals, it's just, I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, this is where the industrial elements really came into the fold, and they acquired some goth elements, which do not work for this band. Like, if it was for, like, Tiamat, or I would say to a lesser extent, like, Typo Negative, then okay, I could see that, because that's when, oh, wow, what the hell was that album? War Coming Down, that's what it was. Like, War Coming Down was coming out around this time. They could have at least done something, but they didn't, and they made this pile of shit. Like, There's two songs I do like. There's only two songs I like. Golden Age and Shadowland. Those songs are actually really enjoyable. The rest of it, hot ass. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I couldn't even remember some of the songs because they just feel so unbelievably bland. The production's not that great. The album cover, I don't know what the fuck's going on there. The vocals are cringy as hell. Like, it's almost Celtic Frost Cold Lake levels of cringe. Like, they're almost so bad they're funny for how bad they are, but... This album made my head hurt, and I nearly passed out twice listening to this fucking thing. So yeah, it's a bad album. It really, really, really is. Like, good lord. This one I was treading a bit because I did hear this album does get a bad reputation, and it deserves it because this album sucks. But the good thing is that with Shadowland and Golden Age, they started to go back to what they were mostly known for, the thrash. So you could say that, but good God almighty. But yeah, not a good album. It's pretty bad if you ask me. So yeah, it's my number 15, Dead Last, nothing more, nothing less. So after a whole lot of, well, that didn't work, the decade would end, and the band would decide to go back to their thrash metal roots. Thank God. In 2001, they would get a new lead guitarist, formerly of Barren Earth, Sammy Yul Serino or Cernio. I apologize with these names. I really do apologize. After signing with SPV Steamhammer Records and getting producer Andy Sneap, we get into 2001 on April 25th. We get Violent Revolution. This is my number one. This is the proper follow-up to Como Souls. Like, this is Como Souls Part 2, but with more melody. And that's what I really dig about this album. Like, you still have the more aggressive thrash metal riffs, but you have those nice kind of like Iron Maiden-like harmonies that I think are really nice. Like, Reconquering the Throne is a banger to kick off your entire album. The title track is absolutely catchy. All in the Same Blood is this nice headbanger of a track. Servant in Heaven, King of Hell is awesome. Second Awakening, Ghetto War, Replicas of Life is fantastic. Slave Machinery, Bittersweet Revenge is a pretty good deep cut. Mind on Fire and System Decay. Those songs just absolutely bring the aggression and they really bring the beef, if you will. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints with this album. Like, the only thing I can kind of complain about is that maybe it's a bit too bloated and maybe sometime could have been cut off on this album. But hey, as long as the songs kick so much ass, then I don't really have any complaints about it. But yeah, this album fucking rips. I dig this album to no extent, and it is my number one. So this was praised massively by fans and very successful, as this is part of the thrash revival of the 2000s, along with bands like Overkill, Testament, and Exodus too, and Slayer, and Megadeth, and Anthrax, just to name a few. So in 2003, they get a live album titled Live Creation, along with a DVD titled Live Creation Revision Glory. So in 2005, it was studio time with Sneap at the producer's chair yet again. And on January 10th, 2005, we beget Enemy of God. This is my number 6. This is a proper follow-up to Violent Revolution. While not quite as great as Violent Revolution, still a fantastic follow-up, no doubt about it. Like, the title track, for example, one of my favorite Kreator songs. I really love the chorus in particular. That's really damn good. Impossible Brutality is a nice kind of mid-tempo groover. Same as Suicide Terrorist, which is one of the big track. One of the bigger tracks on this album. World Anarchy has some nice melodies. Dystopia is really good. Voices of the Dead. Murder Fantasies is catchy, even though the lyrics are pretty one note, I will say. When evil comes, a million will follow. dying race apocalypse under a total blackened sky. Just a banging album through and through. The back of the album cover is pretty cool with all the guys there, but yeah, I dig the shit out of this album. This album absolutely rips. The production's really damn good too. Again, while not quite as great as Violent Revolution, still a hell of a follow-up, and it comes in at my number 6. So in 2006, they released a special edition titled Enemy of God Revisited. In early 2006, a tour in North America with Napalm Death, A Perfect Murder, and The Undying. A European tour with Celtic Frost in 2007 with Wu-Tang for support. And in 2008, they toured with King Diamond, Leaves' Eyes, and Celador. However, that would be canceled due to back issues with King Diamond. So after a couple more tours and some DVD releases, it's studio time with Colin Richardson as producer. Colin Richardson has a litany of albums underneath his catalog. Like, seriously, go look under that cat discography. You will be amazed at how much how the music genres kind of changed for him. So on January 13th, 2009, we would get Hordes of Chaos. This one I ranked a little bit low. I ranked this as my number 10. It's not because it's bad. I do really enjoy this album. The main problems I have with it is, number one, the songs are not nearly as strong as Enemy of God. And number two, the big complaint I have with it is that the production is pretty thin on this album. Like, especially in the drums and guitars, like, they don't really sound as massive as Enemy of God or In Violent Revolution was. Like, this album just kind of feels a little bit thin and pales in comparison to its predecessor and to the follow-up. So it kind of feels like it kind of just got stuck in the middle, but still a good album nevertheless. Like, the title track is really good. War Curse is really good. Destroy What Destroys You. Absolute how the fuck you say that one word? Absolute Misanthropy. I think that's how you say that word. To the Afterborn, Corpses of Liberty, and Demon Prince is actually a really damn good closing track where it has these nice Iron Maiden-like melodies. So yeah, while it's a good album, it's not quite as great as I wanted it to be. And I actually did have this as my number 9, but I ultimately changed it to my number 10 because, well, the production just kind of wailed on me a little bit. But still a good album. It's actually kind of short too, just a little under 40 minutes. But yeah, not a lot of dynamics on this album in particular, but still good, but not great. And it comes in at my number 10. So after Hordes of Chaos and a North American tour co-lined with Exodus, Rallo would sit out due to personal issues, and Marco Minman would take his place temporarily. In early 2010, they'd sign with Nuclear Blast before going on another North American tour in March to celebrate their 25th anniversary. And after a European tour, back to the studio, they went with Jans Bogren as producer. And on June 1st, 2012, we would get Phantom Antichrist. This is my number 5. This I felt like was a proper follow-up to Enemy of God because the production's a lot more better, it's a lot more bombastic, and has a lot more of a bigger sound to it, which I absolutely enjoy. And the songs got a lot better. It's a lot more tighter. And this is where the melodies really start to kind of take over right here. But you still get some thrashers on this album. Like the title track, for example. Civilization Collapse, which is kind of has a weird music video. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. United Hate, Your Heaven My Hell, Death to the World's fantastic. Victory Will Come, and Until Our Paths Cross Again is a very nice epic track as well. It's a bit of a shorter album, too, in terms of the songs. There's only, like, 10 songs in this whole album, which I think is pretty nice. But, yeah, it's really damn good, and it feels like the proper follow-up to Enemy of God, but just a little bit better, in my opinion. And, kind of a spoiler, the last truly, truly great Kreator album, and it comes in at my number 5. So, not much more happens after Phantom Antichrist, except for they co-lined another North American tour with Accept, and even toured in Bangalore in 2012, so that's pretty cool. And after releasing a live album titled Dying Alive, it's studio time, and about 4.5 years after Phantom Antichrist, we go on to January 27th of 2017, we would get Gods of Violence. This is my number 8. This did drop just a little bit right here. While it is a good album, the complaints with the Kreator that I see a lot of people say I really start to resonate with, because this is where the thrash was starting to kind of just be chucked by the wayside and they incorporate more melodies. Not that there's anything really wrong with that per se, but like albums like Violent Revolution and Enemy of God still had those more thrash-oriented songs. But with this one and the follow-up, they kind of abandoned that and go for more melody, which isn't bad to get a little more accessibility, but you kind of abandon what made you great and famous to begin with. But you still have some great tracks, like World War Now is awesome. What's one? Satan is Real is really good. Totalitarian Terror is the first Kreator song I ever listened to, and it's a banger of a track. Title track's good. Hail to the Horse is a nice, kind of like marching groove. Death Becomes My Light's a fantastic closer. Like, there's some good songs on this album, but half of it is just kind of them just being, like, epic and melodic and victorious, which, again, is not a bad thing, but you kind of abandon what made you great to begin with, and I kind of hate when bands kind of do that. So, that's just kind of how I interpret it. But, hey, they're becoming more popular as the years and years go on, so what the fuck do I know? So, yeah, not a bad album, but kind of a weak follow-up to Phantom Antichrist, if you ask me. And it comes in at my number 8. So, Gods of Violence received a positive reception, and their first album to reach number 1 on the German charts, which is pretty nice. So, to promote this album, they embarked on an European tour in February and March of 2017, and co-headlined with Obituary in April. And then in late April, they announced an Australian tour in September with Vader, which I think is pretty nice. So, what was I supposed to say here? Some more tours, and eventually teasing a new album. Oh, and Millie was actually teasing a new album. I don't know what I spelled there. Oh, yeah, okay, I did put Millie. I thought I put an R and an N next to each other, my bad. Millie was teasing a new album in the works, and in September of 2019, Christian would leave to be replaced by former Dragon Force bassist, which I think is pretty nice, Frederick Leclerc. I think that's how you say it. Again, I apologize for fucking up these names, but it is what it is. But in July of 2020, they started making new material, and it was going to be released a new album in 2021. Well, COVID happened, so that wasn't going to happen, and the plans were put on a hiatus. So during the recording process, they get a new producer, an Arthur Risk, which I think that's really nice. And after some tours, they finally released their new album. On June 10th, 2022, we would get Hate Über Alles. This one dropped just one spot from the follow-up, or from Hordes of Chaos. This is my number 11. This is the weakest of their modern albums, at least in my personal opinion, due to the fact that the complaints I had with Gods of Violence acquire here. They go for more melody, and they kind of go away from the thrash, which, again, is not necessarily a bad thing, but not a lot of standout tracks on this album. And it's a damn shame, too, because I think this album had potential to be one of their better ones, but unfortunately just kind of had the same formula and kind of repeated the same stuff that they did for Gods of Violence, which I think is a bit shameful, but it is what it is. But you get some good tracks, like the title track. I think the title track's a ripper of a track. Crush the Tyrants is absolutely awesome. I love that song in particular, that nice marching groove, which I think is really cool. Strongest of the Strong is really good. Conquer and Destroy, which actually has clean vocals. I think it's the first time that Millie's ever done that. It's actually really, really, really nice. Demonic Future is an awesome track, but Dying Planet, the final track, probably the biggest standout of this entire one, because it has some more death metal oriented riffs and tremolos, which I think is really, really, really good. I really, really, really dug that. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Replicas of Life. which I think is absolutely awesome. But unfortunately, the rest of the album is just kind of there for the most part. It's not bad. I still listen to this album, but it's not one I'm really going to go out to all that much. Like, if I'm going to listen to a Kreator album, I listen to Enemy of God, Extreme Aggression, Violent Revolution, Coma of Souls, Pleasure to Kill. I would listen to those albums over this one, but it is what it is. But not bad, but could have been a lot better if you ask me. And it comes into my number 11. So they promoted Hate Uber Alice with a world tour, including supporting Merciful Fate in North America. By the way, make a new album, please. And a European tour in late 2023. Now, unfortunately, some bad news. Andre Hers would pass away in December of 2023. But we might potentially get a new album in 2026 as they're still touring to this very day. And that, folks, will close the book, as of at least right now, on Kreator. A band that I have grown to love and respect a lot more as the years have gone on. Again, I didn't grow up with these guys, and, I was new to thrash at the time. But as time has gone on, I've really started to grow to really, really, really love these guys. Even though their modern stuff isn't my cup of tea, per se. But yeah, this was a fun discography to listen to. And what would you guys rank Kreator? Please leave your list down in the comment section below. And actually, shout out to my good buddy Levi, aka ThrashManiac99, because he just had his Kreator ranking done about like a month or so ago. I highly suggest you guys go check that video out if you guys have the time. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Now, what's my next ranking going to be? Well, the next one's going to be, pretty interesting, to say the least, because I'm actually going to be seeing these guys next week along with the Melvins. So we're going to go from Germany all the way to the British land, and I'm going to be talking about a band that heavily inspired the grindcore scene. Of course, I'm going to be talking about the Godfathers of Grind themselves, Napalm Death. That's going to be a fun discography to listen to, and pretty short too, because they have a lot of short songs. But anyways, folks, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, tap the big red subscribe button, and tap the bell so when I upload, you guys will be notified. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Most importantly, join the herd. Talk in the next video. Peace out.